The first rankings are released in club ice hockey.
And we preview the men's and women's NCAA soccer tournaments.
This is All Access, and it starts right now. Welcome to All Access, your home for the latest in Rowan athletics. I'm Cody Decker.
And I'm Chris Devine. It may be getting colder outside, but the heated postseason is around the corner for our Rowan sports teams. Let's start the show with the latest on the football team. Cody?
Thanks, Chris. The Rowan football team made history on Saturday afternoon, and not in a good way, with a 13-3 loss to Montclair State University in the home finale. The Profs' losing streak hit 6 games, something they have not done since 1965. Both teams kicked field goals on their opening drives, with freshman Brian Furlong starting under center for Rowan. Furlong went 7 for 15 in the second half. Redhawks running back Anthony Travisano broke off a 66-yard touchdown run in the third quarter to put Montclair up 10-3. Another field goal by kicker Hunter Daly finalized the scoring. For the third straight game, the Profs' offense failed to get into the end zone, being outscored 80-6 in that span. The run game never got going as running backs Anthony DiOrio and John Mannion only posted 38 and 29 yards respectively. The Profs now have a 3-6 record and a 2-6 conference mark. They wrap up their season on Saturday at Kane University at 1 p.m.
The men's soccer team took on Rutgers Newark this past Saturday at the NJAC Championship game in a highly anticipated matchup, with Rutgers coming out on top 1-0. It was a nail-biter through the first 78 minutes with no goals being scored for either team. This was until Hubert Dahl of Rutgers scored a header off of a free kick that accounted for the only goal in this game in the 79th minute. Despite outshooting Rutgers 21-9, Rowan could not find the back of the net. The Profs will try to regroup as fast as possible from this tough loss, as they have the NCAA Championship Tournament coming up this Saturday, where they will take on Cabrini College. Kickoff is at 4 p.m.
It's now time to preview the first 2 rounds of the NCAA Men's Division III Soccer Tournament, which will be hosted by the Profs on our campus. Rowan, who leads the all divisions of NCAA Men's Soccer in assists and points, will take on Cabrini College, the conference champion of the Colonial States Athletic Conference, in round 1. The Cavaliers have a 10-8-1 record and are making their 6th tournament appearance in school history. If Rowan can surpass them, they will play the winner of Johns Hopkins University and DeSales University. Out of the Centennial Conference, the Blue Jays are an impressive 14-1-3 and making their 15th tournament appearance and their first since 2010. The Bulldogs are the Middle Atlantic Conference Freedom Champions with a record of 12-2-6, making their 6th tournament appearance and their first in 16 years. Rowan plays on Saturday, November 11th at 4 p.m. and Sunday, November 12th at 6 p.m. if they advance.
And now for the women's side, the Profs will be traveling to Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania for their first and second round. They open up against Scranton University, who are the champions of the Landmark Conference with an overall record of 14-3-2 and are making their 17th tournament appearance. In the other first round tilt, host Messiah College takes on Westfield State. The Falcons are no stranger to success in the tournament with 5 national championships, 3 runner-ups, and 4 third-place finishes in 17 appearances. They have a record of 14-2-3 on the season, and the Owls have a record of 11-5-3 and are the automatic qualifier from the Massachusetts State College Athletic Conference, making their 6th tournament appearance. The Profs open up on Saturday at 2 p.m. If they advance, their second round matchup will be on Sunday at 1:30 p.m. We will have full recaps for both teams' games on next week's edition of All Access.
With the NBA and NHL season in full swing, here is Eric Conklin with this week's Pro Talk.
Thanks, Cody. This week in pro sports, starting out with news from the NFL. More trouble is rising for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as starting quarterback Jameis Winston is said to have re-aggravated a shoulder injury from earlier in the season. Winston will be shut down for at least 2 weeks to treat his shoulder injury. In his third NFL season, Winston has completed 61.1% of his passes for 1,920 yards and 10 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Former Jets quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick is slated for the start this coming Sunday against his former team. Fitzpatrick is 30 for 48 this season for 358 yards and 4 touchdowns with 2 interceptions. Against the Saints on Sunday, November 5th, Fitzpatrick went 8 for 15 for 68 yards and 1 score. In NHL news, the Anaheim Ducks could be without their captain Ryan Getzlaf for at least 2 months. The Ducks captain hasn't played in a game since October 29th due to an injury to his face after Sebastian Aho from the Carolina Hurricanes deflected a shot off of Ducks right wing Corey Perry. Getzlaf had surgery to repair a fracture in his cheek from the injury, one that general manager Bob Murray called a quote-unquote complex fracture. Getzlaf has 7 points in 6 games. His facial injury is only plaguing his start to the season after he missed the first 2 games of the season and then 3 in a row from October 13th through the 20th due to a lower body injury. Checking the NBA news, Eric Bledsoe from the Phoenix Suns is on the move to the Eastern Conference. The Suns have reportedly made a deal to send Bledsoe to the Milwaukee Bucks in exchange for Greg Monroe and projected first and second round picks. It's been a dull season for Bledsoe as he hasn't played in a game for the Suns since October 21st. Bledsoe says that being shut down last season was one of the main reasons for the trade request. He says, quote, "I felt like it was time to leave, especially when they sat me down last year. It gave me a better picture, a more clearer picture of what I needed to do." And finally, the Toronto Blue Jays, Philadelphia Phillies, and all of Major League Baseball are mourning the loss of former pitcher Roy Halladay, who was killed in a plane crash in the Gulf of Mexico near St. Petersburg, Florida on Tuesday, November 5th. The crash was reported at 2:06 p.m. on Tuesday. Law enforcement arrived on scene to the plane being upside down in the water. After investigations, it was reported that Halladay was the only person on board the plane at the time of the crash. Halladay, nicknamed Doc, began his career with the Toronto Blue Jays in 1998, where he won the American League Cy Young Award in 2003 with the Blue Jays. He joined the Phillies in 2010, where he again won the award in the National League, pitched a perfect game, and became the second pitcher in history to pitch a no-hitter in the postseason. Roy was 40 years old and is survived by his wife, Brandy, and their 2 sons. And that's all we have. Oh, that's Chris. Okay. Oh. That's all I have for you in That's all I have for you on this week's Pro Talk. Later, Cody and Chris will have recaps on the club ice hockey teams. But after the break, Michael will host this season's Pro Sports Roundtable. So stay tuned for more All Access.
Welcome back to All Access. It's time for our Rowan Roundtable. Joining me today are Lenny and Eric to discuss hot topics around pro sports. You guys ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
I'm ready. I mean, he's probably more ready. He looks more ready than me because he's wearing his Devils jersey. He's all set.
I like it.
I took notes.
And he's got notes set up too, right?
So we're going to start off with some tragic news in the sports world
Absolutely.
this week.
Right.
Past Tuesday, Roy Halladay, professional pitcher, died in a plane crash over the Gulf of Mexico.
Yep.
2-time Cy Young Award winner, one with the Toronto Blue Jays, one with the Philadelphia Phillies. Is he a first ballot Hall of Famer, guys?
Take the lead, Eric. I know you're a Phillies fan.
I mean, first ballot. I mean, whether it's first ballot, whether it's not first ballot, the guy's a Hall of Famer, no doubt. I mean, you know, you look. I feel like a lot of fans will think that the guy has to, he has to be this big World Series champion. He has to have a ring to go to the Hall of Fame. That's not true. I mean, when you're Roy Halladay and you're an 8-time All-Star, you're a two-time Cy Young Award winner, especially winning the award in both the American League and the National League, it weighs heavy on your record a little bit. So, and then also on top of that, being only the second pitcher in history to pitch a no-hitter in the postseason, then
playoffs, yep.
in a perfect game, and
Yeah.
definitely is. I think no matter if it's a first ballot, second ballot, third, whatever it is, he's a Hall of Famer for sure. Is he going to be first ballot?
No.
It's tough.
I don't.
Right?
It's tough. I mean, I hope so, but I mean, I think no matter what, he might not be necessarily a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, I might be a little surprised if he is, but I think no matter what, he's going to Hall of Fame for sure.
I think Roy Halladay is. I'm going to sort of agree with Eric on this one. Now it's not the whole point of this whole thing we got going on, but he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. The level that you have to be on to be a first ballot Hall of Famer is like, it's insane these days. It really is. You know, he threw a perfect game one time. He threw a no-hitter. He won 203 games, but the win stat is kind of, you know, maybe not as important these days because you have, 8 other guys in the field with you. You have, when you're in the American League, you're not even hitting, so sometimes your team can win the game without you. You know, a 3.38 ERA,
decent.
You know, decent. Not as good as a lot of the guys that are in the Hall of Fame, though. Right. So when you look at it, the one thing that I like is he threw 67 complete games in an era where he didn't throw a lot of complete games. You see guys right now, I'm a Mets fan, you see a guy like Noah Syndergaard, who is a complete and utter workhorse. The guy's insane.
Totally, yeah.
But he ticks 100 pitches, you know, they're calling for the bullpen.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the thing that gets like taken away with Halladay sometimes is so many times he's pitched 250 innings in his career. He's been that workhorse for so long, you know.
And that's especially what I think a lot of people have said that they remember about him is just his work ethic.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so transitioning to the NBA, I'm giving you guys the GM cap for a second. Porzingis or Giannis? Who you guys taking? Start your team with.
One. You go first.
Yeah. Huge Greek freak guy that you're talking to right now. So this works out perfectly. Giannis, I'm not even going to attempt to say his last name.
Yeah.
I've tried.
Oh, my God.
I've tried. It's not going to happen. I don't want to embarrass myself here on this show. He's so good. He's 6'11". I'm going to look down at my notes right here, but he's played 4 full seasons. He's 50% from the field, 28% from three-point, which is respectable for a big man. 7 rebounds a game, 15.4 points a game. That number is only going up. First season, 6.8 points per game, and has slowly progressed up to last year. He was scoring 23 points a game, and this year, 32 points a game.
Yeah.
You look at a guy like that, I want him on my team because if he has the same trajectory that he's on now, he's only getting better. I mean, where can you go from here? Even if he plateaus right now and he starts scoring 32 points a game, picking up 7-8 rebounds a game, I want that guy on my team no matter what. Not to knock Kristaps Porzingis, but I think he's a little bit uncoordinated. You watch him on the court, he's a big guy. He can move, he can shoot, but he's a little bit, I feel like a little bit too big for the court sometimes, as crazy as that sounds. So that's why I would definitely go with Giannis. Last name starts with an A.
All right.
I was trying to figure out I'm always trying to figure out how to pronounce it. So I guess my turn. I kind of have to agree with Lenny on it. I would take Giannis more than Porzingis. I mean, both of them I think are, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're about like 30-something points a game this season. So it's pretty. Yeah. You're pretty much getting kind of the same player and the same capability, I think, no matter what. But I think what I like, especially in Giannis' situation, is they have a little bit more of a developing roster, especially with that trade that they just made for Eric Bledsoe.
Absolutely.
Now, Eric Bledsoe has had his injury problems, of course, but you know, if the guy is healthy, he's going to add some depth to that starting five. So you really, when you mix him with Giannis, who's really developing into I think a potential superstar, you've got a good mix.
Yeah,
and
you're seeing what
I take Giannis.
You're seeing what he can do when he's surrounded by other good players. Whereas when you look at a guy like Porzingis, the Knicks are a train wreck right now.
Yeah.
You know, their organization has been pretty poor since like 2011-12 was that one year that they won like 50-something games and Carmelo led the league in scoring. Since then, they've just been like, you know, going like that down. If you saw it in a graph, it wouldn't be pretty.
Yeah.
So I think a guy like Porzingis, you need to see how he can play, with other good players around him, or with other decent role players around him even, to know if you want him to be on your team. Because if you're going to build a team, you're going to have other role players around him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going back to that Eric Bledsoe trade, getting also the Greg Monroe contract off the books is huge because he wasn't getting any playing time.
I didn't even know Greg Monroe was still in the league until I saw that contract.
But also, Giannis's, I think, transition offense is absolutely unstoppable. You know, he takes 3 or 4 steps to get to the basket on each side of the court. I agree with you guys 100%. So this Ezekiel Elliott fiasco suspension has been going on for, I don't even know how long, weeks.
Humor me.
And every week, it seems like he's getting suspended. He appeals. He's not suspended.
Right.
It just got cracked down today, again, that the suspension is back on. It's reinstated.
Yeah.
Does he play this season, or
Crazy.
is it going through?
I would not be surprised if something pops up tomorrow on ESPN that he's playing on Sunday. It just seems like I'm familiar with what's been going on in the situation with how he's been going from suspended to not suspended, and he doesn't miss a step. He's suspended one day, they unsuspend him, and he's got 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I personally don't think after this. I think today was kind of the last straw. It's gone through so many federal courts, and there's been so many injunctions filed and other lawyer terms that I don't think all three of us probably don't really understand too well.
Nope,
Not at all. It seems like that at this point it's kind of, like I said, reached the last straw, and I don't think we're going to see him again on the field. I don't think. However, I wouldn't be surprised to see him out there on Sunday either. Yeah. It's just so many things are going on with that situation. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors as far as who Jerry Jones is calling and who's writing checks for who and who's doing favors for who, because, we all know that Jerry Jones is going to do whatever he can to have his best players on the field.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of looked at it more as I think it could be the end of the whole fiasco and he not play the whole rest of the year. But I also kind of do agree with Lenny. It's just because I feel like everybody has been expecting for him to be suspended, and then he ends up not suspended. And then, again, a couple weeks later, we're expecting him to get his suspension is in full swing. He's going to be suspended 100%, and then it turns around and he's not suspended. So I think really anything can happen. Now, me being, of course, like you said, be the Phillies fan, I'm also an Eagles fan, so I'm hoping he's not playing.
Right.
But, anyway.
I like the Giants. I mean, I don't think it matters who's playing against the Giants right now, but certainly if they were to play the Cowboys without Zeke, can't hurt our chances, I guess.
Right. Yeah, being an Eagles fan, we play him twice in the next 3 or 4 weeks. You'd love to not have him there, right?
Right, and I mean, like I said, I kind of agree with Lenny. At this point, it could be anything. It could be he is suspended, or like he said, you could turn around the news tomorrow and say, whoop, that's it. Wait a minute. Breaking news, Ezekiel Elliott's allowed to play next Sunday. And it's just...
Too many lawyer terms are getting thrown around for us.
Exactly.
I'm more worried about fantasy implications.
Right.
I'm like, man, the guy I'm playing has Ezekiel Elliott, and he's going to keep him in his lineup. Hopefully he doesn't play. That way now I have the advantage.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we'll see, I guess, right?
Yep. All right, guys. Well, that is all the time we have for this Rowan Roundtable. Cody and Chris, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Michael. It's time to reveal our fall all-conference athletes. Chris?
Thanks, Cody. Several Rowan athletics teams had players named to all-conference teams this past week, and we got a long list of them. From the field hockey team, Rachel Galante and Julie Johnson were named to the first team. Bridget Boyle, Nadia Irvin Choi, and Carly DeMarco were named to the second team. From men's soccer, Shane Doherty, Matt Hendrickson, Jake Connors, Will Jastad, and Madhu So were named to the first team. Tyler Logar made the second team, and Eric Checker received honorable mention. From the volleyball team, Megan Jacoby made the second team, and Kaylee Gallagher and Taylor Modica received honorable mention as well. From the women's cross-country team, Jennifer Clavins made the second team. And finally, from men's cross-country, Dan Fitch-Henry and Kevin Veltri made the first team, as Jose Figueroa, Nick Noko, and Matt Russo were named to the second team. Congratulations to all of the Rowan Fall All-Conference athletes.
The Rowan Division II ice hockey team brought momentum from a busy 3-game slate last week into Saturday night's game against last year's national runner-up, Liberty University. After taking a 2-0 lead into the locker room after the first, both goals coming from Anthony Delrose, the Profs sputtered. They gave up the lead in the second period, falling behind 3-2 after 40 minutes. In the third period, penalties killed Rowan, and Liberty was able to take advantage of a plethora of power play opportunities, taking a 7-2 lead. Sam Meyer attacked on a late goal for Rowan, but it wasn't enough to mount a comeback. The 7 unanswered goals did it in for Rowan and had an effect on the first round of the computerized ACHA rankings. Rowan played well enough to land the number 8 rank in the Southeast region. Rowan is on a bye week and will travel to Penn State on November 17th. So now let's dive into those rankings that we just mentioned. And Chris, Rowan being at number 8 and having a record of 6-6 on the season at 500. They should be pretty happy that they are ranked that high at 6-6.
Definitely. I mean, especially when you look down the rest of the list. Ohio University ranked 10th. They're 10-3. George Washington University, they're ranked 14th. They're 10-1. And the big thing with Rowan so far this year is it's been pretty inconsistent. I think the one consistent part for the Profs so far this year has been the goaltending. Justin Nattiello has played every minute for the Profs so far this year, and he's done a pretty good job. But it really all depends on the defense and really their speed in transition, because they faced a lot of fast teams. Liberty, Penn State, Villanova's D1 team. They faced a lot of tough tests. So 6-6, and to get the number 8th rank in the Southeast region is a pretty good accomplishment through this first round of rankings.
You talk about common opponents and the teams that they play in the MAC, and they're always a presence on this list. Penn State at 1, Liberty at 4, the University of Delaware at 7, University of Maryland at 11, who they lost 2-1 earlier in the season, Rider at 12, and Wagner, a team that's impressed. 4-5 record, but they're 16th, and Virginia Tech at 17, and then Army, another MAC North opponent, at 19. So this is probably the best league in the Southeast region by far.
By far, and especially, I mean, you look at Penn State at the top, 10-0. I mean, they were good last year, and they're good again this year. And you saw with that game that Rowan played them last week, just fell short 5-4. But they knew that. I think the big thing that helped Rowan landing the number 8 spot, we talked about this in the post-game show from that game, is that they lost by a goal, but they never pulled Justin Nattiello from net. And the reason Coach Caulfield did that was so that way a 1-goal loss to Penn State would favor them more in these rankings than a 2-goal loss, and you're seeing the effect of that here. But Penn State, obviously well-deserving to be at the top of the region, and it's going to be really interesting, especially with when the Profs come back from the bye week. They travel to Penn State to take on that same Ice Lions team.
Yeah, and that 1-goal differential obviously impacted the whole goal differential algorithm that goes into these rankings. Chris, just one last question quickly. Profs obviously with a bye week this week, and then going into 2 games against Penn State and Army. What do they need to improve going forward?
Like I said, they need to improve their transition defense. I feel like they get beat back a lot going back into their own zone. Nattiello's played well. They seem to get the offense when they need it, but I guess you can say that's another thing too, is that they've been a little inconsistent with offense. Some nights they'll put up a 10 spot on the board, and other nights they get 1 or 2. But usually when they score the 1 or 2 goals in those nights, it's also a close defensive contest. But the big thing I want to see is that they've had too many situations where another team's going in on transition, and it looks like it's going to be a 2-on-2 pretty even, and then a third guy skates up, and next thing you know, it turns into an odd man rush, and it really just creates a nasty situation for the defense and for Nattiello and net. So if they can get back a little bit quicker and play a little bit better defense, you'll start to see them start to climb up these rankings. 2
statement games coming up next week for sure against Penn State and Army on RTN Channel 5. Make sure you tune in.
Definitely.
Coming up next, we have men's cross-country runners here for this week's Prof Spotlight. Come right back.
Welcome back to All Access. Time for this week's Prof Spotlight. Joining me this week are cross-country runners Nick Nalco and Dan Fitch-Henry. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
So, what a great season for Rowan's cross-country. You guys are 2 of the 5 NJAC championship conference honors. To whom do you credit your achievements?
I would accredit it to my teammates and to Eric and Dustin, our coaches.
I would say definitely the teammates, because they push you to run where you want to be, and then definitely the coaches for giving us the training that we need.
Mm-hmm.
The Profs ended TCNJ's 23-year reign as champions. Was this a goal for the season? Were you guys like, I'm going to take down the Lions, this is what we have to do, they've been winning too long?
It's one of the goals that we have, but we still have our season going on. We still have regionals in 2 days, and then if we qualify at regionals, then we go on to nationals, and that's it. Nationals is the goal, I think, for our top guys. Just to make it to nationals, because that's the biggest race of the year.
Yeah, I mean, from the beginning of the season, that was our goal. From the end of cross country last year, that's been our goal to beat.
Because last year our top guy made it by himself, and we wanted to go with him this time, so that he wasn't alone.
We knew we had the team to do it this year, and we got it done.
Awesome. So it's also been 24 years since, I'm talking 1993, since Rowan's last title. How do you feel to know you guys made Rowan history?
Feels good. It's been a long time waiting. I mean, there's a lot of different guys that have been on our teams, like past years, alumni that have tried, have failed. I mean, missed it by a point, 2 points, and to get it by 4 points this year, to win against TCNJ, it's just a great feeling. And like back in my freshman year, it was like indoor track. We were going into it. We needed a couple points left. It was down to the very last event with throwing, and our entire team was around the throwing pit cheering on our throwers. And by the time the throwing was done, we managed to beat TCNJ after I don't even know how long the indoor one was, but it was probably the same thing, like years since Rowan had a victory. And then we did the same thing outdoor, and we've just been doing it since. But it's always just been indoor, outdoor, indoor, outdoor. But this year we finally got cross country back. And now we're going to go for the Triple Crown, get it cross country, which we already did, then indoor, and then get it again outdoor.
So you guys were looking for an all-around win. You know, we're
Yeah.
going to beat them indoors, we're going to beat them in outdoors, and, you know, beat them cross country too, what they're best at.
Yep. But that is what they're best at. But this year we managed to take them down, and it felt great. For me, it felt great.
Yeah, and next year we should continue it and make it 2 years in a row.
Why not make a streak out of it?
Yeah, absolutely.
They did it for 23 years. Why can't we do it for 24?
Right. Head coach Dustin Dimmitt is also NJAC's Coach of the Year. Tell me a little bit about him and the impact he had on your running careers.
I would say that he's done a great job recruiting a lot of the younger guys. I was, I think, probably the second class that he started recruiting on. And he's done a great job bringing in really good guys. And also, Coach Eric has also been a big help to the team just by running with us every day, making workouts for us, and giving us all good advice on how to be successful.
So what were some personal goals achieved, like PR times,
I think
things of that
for
sort?
everyone, every year it's always try and beat your last time, your last fastest time, and I think that goes for all the guys. I mean,
We had a couple guys on like 4, 5, 6, 7 who are all looking to go under 26 minutes for the 8K, and they still have a shot at doing it on Saturday, and it's looking pretty good that they might be able to do it. So that's really encouraging.
So what did it take to achieve that? Like, does it depend on the courses, like time-wise? You said like 26 is the way to go.
Yeah, definitely on flatter courses and in good conditions, it's going to be easier to run faster. But, you know, we're going to put in the work on the harder courses as well. So,
like if you have a hillier course, like the SUNYAC's championships they had was at some insanely hilly course, and they only had 3 guys get under 27 minutes. But this past one we had, there was like probably 8 guys that were under 26. So just trying to get under that 20, like you're saying, I was one of the guys that I was 26:01 and that so far for the season. So just trying to like get under there is just a big goal of mine.
So what's also strategy do you use for running? Because you guys are running like miles on end. Do you like replay an episode of Office in your head to keep going? What goes on there?
it's a lot of the times it's just helpful to have somebody running with you. A couple of the guys in like up north, they all run together. A couple of guys in central Jersey run together, and then I live in South Jersey, so I was running with a lot of the kids from South Jersey. So having that companionship also builds the team spirit, which also helps us be more successful. So
I find like the more people you're running with, just the easier it gets. Like during the summer, when you're like you say, when you're alone, you have to like try and find where your teammates are and like meet up when you can. But like I was working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I only have Saturday, Sunday to meet with people, so I'd have to run alone the whole like weekdays, and then just on the weekends we'd have our longer runs, like we'd meet up in Philly or North Jersey or mid-central Jersey, just anywhere we could. Just it made the runs easier for us.
So an overall successful season, were there any goals that weren't met?
we still have goals that we can achieve because the season isn't over. I was talking about the guys who want to break 26 minutes. You know, I have my own personal goals, but as a team, we're looking to make it to nationals. So that's top 3 or 4 teams out of the region.
I think one of the goals right now. Yeah, it's like the top two for the regional race, they automatically qualified, but then the rest of the teams depend on how you've been ranked nationally during the rest of the season. So right now we're ranked, I think, 25th nationally, and 35 teams make it. And then, so if we're like 5th place overall, and the 4th place team is also ranked nationally, 3rd place is ranked nationally, all of us will make it. But if like the 6th place team is not ranked at all or hasn't been really ranked at all, they might not make it. So then only 5 teams will go. But it kind of changes year by year how many teams per region make it. So if we can get an automatic qualifying bid by being 2nd, that's what we want to go for, and we might have a chance at that. We're going to see how we do.
So tell me a little bit about the team. Like, I know there's a lot of younger runners on now. So you guys being upperclassmen, how does that affect your game at all?
Well, as captains, we're supposed to reach out to the new kids who come on the team and make them feel welcome. And I think we did a good job of that this year. I love all the underclassmen, and I really feel that they're a good addition to the team.
I mean, my freshman year, I had 8 guys on the team that were freshmen. Now, my senior year, there's only 3 of us left, so it kind of sucks when you see guys just kind of stop, but like you get closer to the guys that stay with you year after year, season after season, and you get a closer bond to them.
What are some obstacles someone who doesn't run cross country wouldn't know about?
Just like the lifestyle of a runner. You have to eat healthy, you have to eat right, drink like a bunch of water just to stay hydrated, because when you're running for an hour or more, it just all sweats out. And just setting aside time for running, setting aside for class.
Well, thank you so much. That does it for this week's Prof Spotlight. I would like to thank Nick and Dan for coming. Cody and Chris, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Ayala. Time to lace up our skates and give you the latest on the Division III ice hockey team. Cody?
Thanks, Chris. The D3 hockey team hosted the Ramapo Roadrunners on Saturday night in the first of 2 weekend matchups for the team. The team got off to a hot start, netting 4 goals in the first period. The Profs followed up, scoring another 2 goals in the second, matching the amount of goals Ramapo scored to keep their 4-goal lead. In the third period, they put Ramapo away with another 2 goals, cementing the win, as well as a hat trick for Reed Pelliconi. Pelliconi also came away with an assist in the first period. Johnny Rowan scored his first goal of the season for the Profs. With the big 8-2 victory, the team gave themselves a jolt of confidence heading on the road for their next matchup.
In a back-and-forth affair, the Division III ice hockey team came up short against Atlantic Regional foe George Mason University by a final score of 3-2. In the final second of the game, forward Kevin Diner scored on a pass from forward Cameron Smith to give the Patriots the victory. Smith had a goal and 2 assists, while fellow forward Alex Gross had 2 assists. For the Profs, the goal scorers were Matthew Torrey and Reed Pelliconi. Goalie Ryan McCusker made 31 saves on 34 shots for Rowan, while goalie Nick Whalen made 30 saves on 32 shots for George Mason. The Profs fell to 5-4-1 on the season, but are ranked 4th in the first ranking of the year. They will host Loyola University on Saturday at 5:30 p.m.
Well, the horn sounds, and that does it for this episode of All Access. For Eric Conklin, Ayala Gideon, Michael Penn, Chris Devine, and the entire All Access team, I'm Cody Decker. We'll see you next time.